The Home Office has been criticised for leaving care workers and cleaners out of a scheme that will support the families of migrant NHS workers who die of COVID-19. Now, I just want to take a moment to tell you how that works and how that has been allowed to happen to our magnificent home, to our country. How have we ended up in a place where the Home Secretary can think, sack them, they're dead, but they're just care workers and cleaners, so we'll get rid of their families if we want. I'll tell you exactly how, and it's going to shock you, and it's going to upset you, and it may even make you feel a bit guilty, if you've got a conscience. And I'll tell you how I would respond to this story if I was a vampire. I'll tell you how I would respond to this story if I was a right-wing ghoul, if I was a member of the Downing Street cabal that's presiding over this utterly unnecessary carnage. I would respond to this by saying, well, if you care so much, O'Brien, you virtue-signalling lefty clown, if you care so much about these families of care workers and cleaners who died of COVID-19 while working in hospitals, why don't you put them all up in your own house? That's how it's happened. Make no mistake at all. The minute we allowed comments like that to pass into the mainstream of our civilization, we made things like this possible. We opened the door, we flicked on the green light. The minute, and it happened everywhere. It happened from the highest echelons of government and media right down to the spit and sawdust saloon bars. The minute we let that vile, racist, disgusting rhetoric appear front and centre in the national conversation, we created an environment in which a Home Secretary can look at the families of dead cleaners and think, no, we're not putting them on the scheme. God, I'm so close to swearing. That never happens to me. I'm so close to swearing. Stuff them. They're just cleaners. And I didn't hear the interview with Priti Patel earlier. I just heard that little item in the bulletin about the grading of workers. Where do you think it leads? Once you allow that to happen, yesterday we spoke about how everybody in this country on less than £25,600 a year is now second class. That's what they're doing. And why? No, you can answer that one yourself. I've done enough. But that is the environment into which this can move. So I know in my bones that many people who both fell for and possibly even amplified that disgusting argument, the almost the complete betrayal of people like Sir Nicholas Winton and Lord Alf Dubs, when we saw people fleeing war in the Middle East, and they ended up on posters being punted by vile ideologies and ideas. And where does that lead? Well, if you care so much, put them in your spare room. Where does that lead? It leads inevitably and inexorably and directly to this. In the United Kingdom in 2020, you die as a result of your work in the health service. And the Home Secretary tells your family, your grieving, bereaved family, yeah, there is a scheme. There is a scheme for families of workers who died, but your mum doesn't qualify because she was just a cleaner. Yeah, there is a great scheme for the families of migrant NHS workers who die of COVID-19, but sorry, yeah, your dad was just a care worker, so you don't get to be part of it. You don't get to be recognised or even rewarded after your family member died. Oh, and if you care so much about the families of these cleaners and these care workers who happen to have been born overseas, but who died while working in the NHS, yeah, well, why don't you put them up in your own spare room? Anyone checked with Yvette Cooper yet to see if she's got a refugee in her back bedroom? This is where it leads. And those of us who warned you have no choice but to carry on pointing it out.